Okay, we should be live. You guys should be seeing me full-blown live. I know we don't go live often here. I'll wait for everybody to kind of catch up with the stream, make sure the audio sounds good and all that jazz. You know, I want to make sure people can hear me, quite frankly, very well. Gonna mute this thing here, so hopefully that cleans up the audio a little bit. I see a bunch of people kind of chiming in already. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing pretty good. So overall, I'm relaxing, staying chill. I do want to go ahead and talk to everybody here a little bit about the channel that's going on. I want to talk a little bit about Star Trek Season 3 of Discovery. Obviously, we kind of, kind of wrapped up the third season there, so we're going to talk a little bit about that and some of the upcoming videos and different ideas that are going to be coming up with the channel and stuff like that. Okay, I'm seeing everybody. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Chuck A, hello, how are you? Daniel, how are you doing there? How's it going, everybody? Jimmy Dean, how's everyone doing? All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Hopefully they can. If you guys can, let me know. That would be ideal, so I know I'm not just talking to myself. I have some audio technical difficulties. All right. So why does we already got some questions here. We're going to talk about some stuff here. We can talk a little bit about, if you guys want to, we can talk a little bit about the season 4 Discovery kind of rumors that are flying around in regards to rumors and stuff like that. I don't know I don't know how much more I could possibly say on it. It says the audio is all on the right channel for some reason. I'm sorry. Well, I apologize, Guy in PDX. Hopefully I fixed it. There was a weird setting that I just noticed that there was like a weird thing here, so hopefully it's good to go. Tom Casey already immediately in, Tom Casey, with a $5 donation. Oh my gosh. Whether I agree or disagree with your reviews, absolutely love them. Just want to show my support. Thank you, Tom. I totally appreciate your support. Thank you for the $5 donation. That's awesome. And thank you for, just appreciating my viewpoints. That's all they really are. It's just my viewpoints. And I open it up always to all of you guys and gals and pals to kind of share your thoughts. And I never want to bully anybody into thinking my way or to think that if somebody likes something that I don't like is dumb. I definitely don't want that, so I appreciate it. So, all right, we got some good crew here. While we go ahead, we're going to go ahead and do a quick share out of this on Twitter, and then we'll go ahead and get right into all this fun stuff. I'm going to quote the tweet here. Live now. Come and join in on the fun. Okay. Get that going. All right. So, see a bunch of you guys chiming in. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Hey. How's it going? Greetings from Germany. Okay. Fuerte impresión. Okay. Nice to meet you. Hopefully I said your name right. So, all right. So, first thing I want to get into is some quick updates in regards to the channel, and then we can talk a little bit more about Star Trek Discovery Season 3 and then kind of rolling into Season 4 of Discovery. While I am talking, please feel free to share any of your questions and thoughts or ideas or things like that in the chat channel. I absolutely am going to read them out as best as I can. You don't have to just donate in order for me to read your question. If I see it, I'll try to get to it. But I, of course, appreciate the donations, so for sure. So, okay, so moving into, Starfleet Boys here. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us. Moving into 2021, I wanted to do kind of a real hard look at the Ketwolski YouTube channel and the Ketwolski brand. We just wrapped up 23 weeks straight of Star Trek for a majority of markets. Not every market had that. Some of you guys are about to pick up the Lower Deck show here shortly. So we just wrapped up 23 weeks of Star Trek and kind of looking back on all the work that was done and looking forward down the pipe for the rest of this year and what it is that Star Trek is doing and what it is I want to do with the channel. I have kind of decided that I want to branch out a bit more beyond just Star Trek. I know a lot of you watch this channel for the Star Trek vibe, so doing this is a little bit risky. I know I'm going to kind of get a bit of a drop-off in views and subscribers as I continue to branch out into other franchises. They're all going to be science fiction or fantasy-related franchises. There's not going to be any kind of a crazy branch out where I'm going to start doing makeup tutorials, although I'm sure somebody probably would want to do a makeup tutorial with me. I don't know. Maybe I need some makeup. I don't know. I'm ugly. So as I'm kind of looking at trying to doing that, some of you may have noticed I've already started to do a little bit of a subtle rebranding on the channel where I've dropped the Starfleet Delta from my channel logo. It's no longer on there. Now it's just the traditional K that I've kind of made a little bit of modifications to and kind of put the K on there and stuff like that. And I'm kind of dropping off the Star Trek specific stuff. And I'm going to talk more about some ideas I have in a bit. But I wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like as much as I love Star Trek, I want to continue to grow the Ketwolski brand. That's really what this is coming down to. And it is going to be a little bit risky. I know I'm going to get some viewer drop off because a lot of people are tuning in specifically to hear my thoughts on Star Trek, but I have a lot of other thoughts. And really this whole thing kind of started with the trailer to the Dune movie that is coming out sometime. And I saw that trailer. I love the director that's in charge of that, whose name I am absolutely cannot pronounce, so I'm not going to even attempt to. He did Blade Runner 2049, which I really loved. And I saw that trailer and I said, man, I really just want to make a video to talk about, you know, this movie and talk about this franchise of Dune. I'm a huge Dune fanatic. I love Dune. I've loved Dune since I was a kid. I've read the books many times. I've seen the original movie. I've seen the miniseries, the miniseries that they did. I really love that. So this all started with the Dune thing, and I said, man, I really want to do this video, but the channel wasn't in a position for me to just start pumping out Dune content. So that is kind of how this idea really started to form and really started to grow in my mind. And so I'm like, okay, I want to start making other content for other science fiction franchises. Star Wars is obviously an easy one to go to, and maybe I'll start doing stuff for Star Wars, but Dune is the one that kind of popped in there, and there's a couple of other gaming franchises that kind of are in my mind that I want to start doing discussions on and lore videos on and kind of just breakdowns on and reactions to and stuff that I really want to start talking about. So the Ketwolski brand is not moving away entirely from Star Trek. That's not my intent here. That's not what I'm announcing to all of you guys. I am going to include and continue to cover Star Trek. Obviously, of course, there's no reason for me to stop covering Star Trek, but it's going to begin to expand outwards. So for those of you who are here now, you know, and I appreciate, we have 100 people watching right now, which I totally appreciate, and thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I want you guys to make sure that when I make these new videos that you guys are hopefully supporting, and for answering other people, I'll try to answer people's questions as to why they're getting other content. But if you see people asking like, hey, why is this guy making all these weird videos? Explain to them that this is kind of just the brand. We're going to kind of expand it out a little bit and continue to grow as a community and as a channel. Like, this is a really fantastic community that we have here at the Ketwolski YouTube channel. I want all of you guys and gals and pals to come along with that adventure and kind of just go on in the future. So, all right, I'm gonna kind of get off my soapbox for a bit there. I'm gonna see some of your guys' questions here. I've got Joel Vigliarani, $5 donation. Thank you so much. Joel says, I appreciate your updates and the Buc-ee's mug. Yes, that's right. I'm in Texas. I gotta represent. I see a lot of people saying, you know, Dune is, Dune's a good idea. Yeah, Dune, we're definitely going to be doing Dune. I see that. Thank you guys for your support already. I'm already seeing so many great supporters already. Thank you so much for that. The Popcast, who is also kind of a fantastic YouTube channel. If you guys haven't been checking them out, I would absolutely recommend it. And they also help support the Ketwolski merch situation there with Mixed Teas as well. Says $5 donation. Thank you so much. Says, we love you, Ket. I love you. So write that down. Check that out. So Danny B86 says, go Bills today. In case you guys didn't know, I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So yes, go Bills. I'm a little worried about them today. So that's really it. That's the big channel update for the brand. Now comes slightly bad/bitter news, or whatever, however you want to call that. So the Earl Grey Pour Up, which is my news show for Star Trek, is going to be departing the Ketwolski YouTube channel for the foreseeable future. But it is not dying or really going away. It is moving. It is changing locations, and it will now be officially hosted. And you're going to be seeing me talking about Star Trek news over on the Trek Central YouTube channel. I know a lot of you are already subscribed to Trek Central. You guys are already familiar with the Trek Central brand over there. They're a fantastic team. I've done a lot of work with them. I do a lot of their live streams with them. And for me, it felt like a natural fit as I continue to sundown some of my more Trek-specific content and kind of expand out the Ketwolski brand. The Earl Grey Pour Up was a bit of a question as to where I wanted to put it, if I wanted to keep it or not. So I'm going to be moving that over to the Trek Central brand. So Earl Grey Pour Up will be over there. I'm still going to be doing it. We're still going to be having all the fun, intro music. I'm still going to have that crazy blue t-shirt. The logo's staying the same. Everything's going to kind of be just migrated over there. So that show will be hosted over on that channel for the foreseeable future. And I'm really excited about that. I really am excited about that. It's a great brand over there at Trek Central. They're really kind of growing exponentially. I think it's a perfect fit for my style of video making. They're really in a need for a news show over there, and I'm kind of figuring out what I'm doing with my channel. It's just, the timing is just working out really, really well, so we're going to kind of stick it over there and hopefully, see how it works. So I'm excited to see all of you over there, to enjoy the Earl Grey pour up over there, and kind of continue to expand on the brand of Ketwolski and the, in the internet sphere, if that makes sense. So that was the other part of that news. So that's really pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead. Max Matthews says Ketwolski is a Dominion spy. Listen, don't mess around. The Dominion's coming for you now. So I'm gonna pop over to the reading window here, so you guys will see me kind of hanging out over here, looking at the channel, obviously. Yes, so you guys may have seen Wilbur is over here next to me. I have a special chair for Wilbur now, because he literally won't stop trying to sit in my lap or on my computer. So I have to give him a special chair, so he sits here now next to me, just, relaxing. So otherwise, he's like a big mess all over the place. So looking at the channel, and I do want to hear some of your guys' ideas. I saw some folks throw out the idea of doing The Expanse. What other channel content would you like to see in terms of franchise coverage? Obviously, I talked a lot about Dune. We're going to continue with Star Trek. The Expanse is definitely an opportunity for me to grow into. I do watch that, and I have the books series, most of the books already, which I'm reading through them. So The Expanse is another natural kind of progression for me as well there. But what other franchises are some of you guys interested in seeing me cover? Obviously, Star Wars is a natural kind of leaning point, but there's so much Star Wars content on YouTube that I don't know if my voice is necessarily going to add anything to that conversation. I don't know, but obviously that's one opportunity there. But there are many, many other franchises that I'd love to see some of you guys talk about some things here. So Sean Onotero, I don't know how to say your name, sorry. Love your updates and reviews, says thanks, congrats on expanding the channel. Would love to hear your opinions on other sci-fi like The Expanse. Raised by Wolves, The Mandalorian. Raised by Wolves, I don't know what that show is, Raised by Wolves. What's that? I'm curious. What's going on with that? The upcoming Peacock Galactica next year. Yeah, that would be really interesting. Doing the new Galactica series and kind of doing a retrospective on some of the Battlestar Galactica stuff. I've seen a couple people saying Battlestar Galactica. I love Battlestar Galactica, the original show for its kind of fun, kind of campiness, and then also the remake, obviously. I think most people do. So that's definitely a good idea. I didn't think about it, Battlestar Galactica. I should do that. I am curious more about Raised by Wolves. What's that show is about? I'm curious there for sure. Andromeda, doing a retrospect on Andromeda might not be a bad idea, for sure, yeah. Upcoming Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings series. Game of Thrones, I'm going to kind of put a pin in for right now, just because I don't know how I feel necessarily about the new shows. But Lord of the Rings, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, big time. So that might be a good idea as well. I definitely, yeah, okay. Danny says, be careful of the hate if you decide to dip into Star Wars. No shit, man. Yeah, seriously. I think the hate in Star Wars is only exceeded by the hate in Star Trek, because Star Wars has a much larger audience and it's just kind of more and more amplified. So I think if I tried to carry some of my positive voice over into the Star Wars realm, I feel like I would really incur some of the wrath of some of the other fandom menace folks for Star Wars. So it's a little bit tricky. Doctor Who, I haven't really watched Doctor Who all that much. I feel like I'd really have to watch a lot of that to kind of get up to snuff on the lore there, so I could speak authoritatively on that. I don't know if I have that kind of time, but that's definitely an idea. Thank you for that. Raised by Wolves is a new science fiction show on HBO Max. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to check out Raised by Wolves. Stargate. Man, Stargate, that's a pretty good suggestion. I like that. Okay, Stargate. All right. Altered Carbon, maybe. I know they only have another season coming out from what I've heard with Altered Carbon, but I do really like the visual styles of that, even if the stories don't necessarily line up. The second season wasn't super good, but I love Anthony Mackie, so I really like that. So that might be a good idea for sure. Yeah, definitely. Ronald D. Moore's For All Mankind series is really great. New season is just about to start. Okay, I'll definitely check that one out too. What about Dark Matter? Ooh, is it Dark Matter? I don't know about Dark Matter, but his Dark Materials, I think, is the show that they talk about with that one. That's pretty good too. I've really wanted to watch that. I haven't seen it yet, but that would be a really good idea. Super Robot Wars is a 30-year-long franchise. It is some crossover mecha fanfic turned into tactical RPG. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, okay. Black Mirror, not a bad suggestion as well. Yeah, okay. I'm seeing a lot of support for Babylon 5 and Battlestar Galactica. That's what I'm seeing most of. So I'm going to take those ideas and definitely kind of put those in there for sure. Ghostbusters / real Ghostbusters. I don't know about Ghostbusters. That's another place that has like a lot of contentious fans. We'll say that. So talking about just the layout of the Ketwolski channel, most of this stuff is going to stay up here. I'm not really going to be getting rid of anything. The old Earl Grey Pour-Up episodes will still remain on the channel. I'm not going to dip those out. The Keeping It Real documentaries and commentating on Fandom Menace and rumors and all that jazz, I'm still going to be fighting that good fight. Make no mistake. So that stuff is definitely going to be staying on there. All the reviews from all the previous episodes of Discovery and Lower Decks and Picard and all that stuff is going to be staying up there. But what you're going to start seeing is probably slightly less of the playlists being listed out like this, because right now I'm kind of spreading the wealth a little bit with all of the, Star Trek content on the channel. So I'm going to kind of condense it down as much as I can, so that you can still find that stuff, but try to make it a little bit cleaner, make it a little bit smaller. So the videos will still be on the channel, but you may not necessarily see them on the main homepage necessarily. So I'm just going to kind of condense it down to kind of just start to make room a little bit for this new content there. So that's definitely kind of where my head's at with that. So in case you start to go to the channel and you're like, where happened to all those other videos? They'll absolutely still be on there. The playlists will still be available. It's just they may not be listed on the main page so that you'll be able to quickly, easily access them. I'm going to kind of keep it as tidy as I can and kind of keep the content set up in a way that makes the most sense and is easiest for viewers to kind of grab hold of it. So, and I would expect the newer content to start popping up here in the next couple of weeks, in case anybody is worried about that or thinking about that. Definitely Dune is going to be probably some of my first content that I start to cover. I'm seeing also some recommendations for Killjoy. I don't know about that. I'll have to dig into that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Teresa Ross says, whatever you do, you don't create drama and you verify rumors. I like that. Thank you, Teresa. That is what I try to do. I think some people think I try to make drama. I think they thought that I made some drama when I did the whole fake 4chan rumors there, but I still stand by that video. I think it was a lot of hard work, and I stand by that video quite a bit. Stargate again. I see another Stargate recommendation. Okay. Stargate's a huge franchise that I love, and I know everything about Stargate. I know everything about Stargate and Atlantis and even Stargate Universe, which came out and people didn't like, but now they like. Such is life with science fiction, I tell you that. Google's Comic-Con. Okay, that'd be interesting. What do I think of WandaVision? I haven't really shared my thoughts on WandaVision on the channel or Marvel in general. That might be an interesting idea to start talking about some of the Marvel shows that are going to be coming out. That's very topical. People are really searching for that. I have a lot of interesting ideas about WandaVision. I think some of my concerns for WandaVision were very similar to that of the third season of Star Trek Discovery, which is that without the full season, I can't really tell you if I like it or not. I super duper enjoyed those first 2 episodes. They were really fun, and they were really, really well made, and I really, really enjoyed them, but I don't know if they overall suck yet because I haven't seen the whole season. But yeah, I'm very excited about the rest of it. I'm super looking forward to more of the WandaVision show for sure. Dark Matter is a Starship-oriented show created by Stargate showrunner Joseph Malozzi. Oh, okay. So, man, we'll check out Dark Matter because I do like that stuff for sure. Star Wars, definitely, yeah. You should watch Gundam. Anime, I don't know if I'm going to get into anime. I'm not a big anime fan, and I know some of that might be sacrilegious to some of you guys and gals and pals, but I don't know if I'm going to get into anime just yet. So, all right. So how about a video series that is devoted to debunking the Fandom Menace BS? I do a lot of that. I try not to get too much into that anymore. I think I really did quite a few of those videos already. Ultimately, they keep repeating the same BS lies. So let's talk a little bit about that. So I'm not going to be making too many more videos about that unless I really, really, really have to. Like the Doomcock thing that I did the other, a couple of months ago with the 4chan stuff, like that was like a big operation, as it were. I really, really worked for that. And so I'm not going to be making too many videos calling out specific rumors that they're peddling and all that jazz, because it's tiring. And you guys don't want to hear me complaining and pointing out the fact that they're literally lying about everything all the time. So let's go back to the full screen here. Get my chat channel up here so I can actually see your guys' comments. So talking a little bit about the season 4 rumors, some of you may have seen that I shared that out a little bit ago. So for anybody that's unclear or is confused as to what's going on with Discovery season 4, Star Trek Discovery season 4 is currently filming up in Ontario. They have, if you look hard enough, you can see actual people on set photos and stuff like that. The cast members are sharing the fact that they're still playing their Dungeons and Dragons game post-filming each, for most part every day. They're talking from the producers and the creatives behind the camera are talking about the ongoing production that's going on there. The IATSE website, the Directors Guild website, Production Weekly all still has the show listed. The big question mark was, why is it that the, Green Harvest codename was no longer listed out? And that's because they had changed the codename to Mill Street. They did this, I want to say like 6 months ago they did this. They did it a really, really long time ago. And I didn't report on it initially because I understood that they were attempting to try to avoid our detection because they knew that we were on to their Green Harvest construct. But it was very obvious that that's what it was because it's literally all the exact same producers and all the same detail information. It was just copy and pasted over to it. It's clearly what it is. And then, of course, we got the season 4 official announcement from CBS and Paramount, or I should just say Viacom CBS. So the show is very much in production. Anybody who says otherwise is literally peddling the exact same set of lies that we've had for the last three and a half years. It's the same set of lies, same set of rumors, same set of conspiracies going on. Nothing has changed. The show is absolutely in production. It's moving forward. It's going on. And I will say, kind of looping that back into the conversation about Discovery Season 3, and I'm curious to hear what you folks think about this, which is, there was a lot of rumors that the finale of Discovery had been reworked into a series finale, and that's why they were going back to do reshoots. I would put forth an idea that potentially they did a little bit of a restructure so that it wasn't a series finale, and actually changed it to a season finale and made it so that they could set themselves up for a 4th season. I got the feeling that they were kind of wrapping up some of these storylines in a certain way, and they wrapped up really Burnham's story arc of becoming Captain of Discovery in a certain way that it did feel like maybe they tried to rein some of those things in a little bit so that it didn't feel necessarily like a series finale, and instead it was a season finale. So I actually think it's the opposite of what happened, potentially. But I'm curious to hear what all of you think about that. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to hear what y'all think about that. It's something that I felt as I was watching it again, like over and over and over again as I do. It kind of popped into my head. I don't have any proof of that, obviously, but I am curious to hear what you guys think about that. Lore Reloaded, $4.99 donation. Thank you so much, you big, beautiful bastard. It says, oh my God, Daddy is online and admitting he covers up for CBS. Yay, Daddy. Yes, that's true. I do cover up for CBS. Yes, as long as the check clears. That's it. So hopefully you guys recorded that and you can snippet that and send it to the Fandom Menace and they can use that against me for sure. So I'm seeing some things here. So some questions here. When do I think Section 31 will take place? I don't know. Obviously, we haven't had a lot of updates on Section 31 in a while. I feel like they have been quiet about it, mainly because they're potentially doing a rework of the initial push for the story, because it was supposed to be Michelle Yeoh with Shazad Latif, and it was going to be like that Clint Eastwood movie Unforgiven. It's going to center around Section 31 and all this stuff like that. I feel like the reason why we haven't heard a whole lot about the show recently isn't necessarily because it's canceled. As far as we know, it is not off the books. It's still on the CBS press releases and stuff like that. I do think that they may be reworking it a little bit to kind of set her in a different location. That's my assumption. But obviously, they're still setting it up as the backdoor pilot. That was kind of the end. The second part of her whole, Mirror Universe two-parter there was essentially a backdoor pilot into the Section 31 show. So they're clearly trying to still set that up. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. We'll see. Z Films Productions says $5 because Daddy is worth that extra 1 cent. That's right. Yeah, Lore Reloaded $4.99, making sure he keeps that 1 cent. Thank you so much for your $5 donation, and thank you for checking in. I really appreciate it. Section 31 has to be TOS era, says Lore Reloaded. I think it's going to be. I think that they're probably still going to keep it in the same era. I think that with the idea that they have the Pike show in the same era, and they have a lot of those sets built out. They're building a lot of those props. You're getting a lot of those costumes set together. They're going to be building a lot of digital models for that era. I think it probably, in terms of just saving costs, it makes sense to set it there as opposed to trying to develop a whole new time period or redevelop a whole new time period like they just did with Discovery, where they had to literally create the future, which is freaking awesome. But I don't necessarily think that they're going to try to do that again for another show. I think it's going to be just kind of stuck inside of that TOS era. And it gives an opportunity to have a lot of good crossover episodes where maybe they're popping around inside of the Strange New Worlds and vice versa. Maybe there's going to be some folks from the Strange New World stuff in the Section 31 show and stuff like that. I think there's just a lot of opportunity there for the crossover of those two shows running so close together. But of course, they do just need to be careful. The issues that they had with Discovery was that it was stuck inside the TOS era and it was damaging well, some people felt like it was damaging canon in a lot of different ways. So they have to be careful with that, and hopefully they will be. Hopefully they'll learn their lesson. I don't know. Lore Reloaded says, more money for Daddy Senpai. They may cancel Section 31 for fancy Ketwolski bells. Listen, make a Ketwolski Star Trek show. I'll come on set. I'll film it. So, yeah, definitely. Thank you for the $4.99 donation, keeping that 1 cent again, I see. Definitely. Question here says, if the Guardians sent Giorgio back to the 23rd century, I am going to scream. I think you're going to have to get ready to scream, for sure. Definitely, yeah, for sure. So what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about the 4th season of Discovery? What are your theories about it? I'm obviously already building up my season 4 theory video, so I have some ideas, in my head. I'm curious to hear what some of the theories that you guys are. What are you looking forward to, I guess? I want to see more of Admiral Vance personally, but I'm going to share one of my theories with you guys exclusively here today before you guys see the video that'll probably be out in about another week or two. But I'll share one of those with you guys here shortly as I get some of your ideas kind of pulled in here. It says, Shadowhunter613, thank you for the $9.99 donation. Thank you so much. It says, where do you think Picard is headed? So from what I understand, season 2 of Picard is going to be more episodic in nature. They're going to drop a lot of the heavy, super long story arc constructs for a more episodic adventure story. I think that they have a really fun crew on board La Sirena, and I don't really know what the story element's going to be, other than maybe kind of continuing to, I don't know if it's going to be like another mystery box type situation. I hope not. I really don't know what they're going to do. I would imagine it's going to be centered around the Romulan neutral zone and that whole area where it's being led up by warlords. They could maybe tie in that warlord that was on top of that TOS, Romulan warbird that was blown up by Seven versus the La Sirena and stuff like that. I think they could tie in some more of those warlord constructs there and maybe kind of dig into the criminal underbelly of the world of Star Trek. I think that would be fun, and maybe even start to dig in a little bit of the pre-temporal Cold War stuff. That would be kind of fun to kind of see like the beginnings of it. We see the aftermath of it inside of Discovery Season 3, and we see some of the beginnings of it in Picard. That would be kind of fun. I know there's a huge gap there. It's like 1,000 years gap. Not 1,000 years, but you get my point. Like there's a significant several hundred-year gap between the Picard show and where Discovery is, but we could maybe start to see some of those. Maybe some temporal agents are popping in. Maybe they're helping start, fight the temporal Cold War. That would be kind of fun, and it would help tie it into some of the other shows like Enterprise and stuff like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe even start to see, I just saw somebody mention this as I was about to say it, maybe some more of Navarre. Maybe we'll start to see the Romulans start to get the process started of moving onto Vulcan, and maybe the birth of Navarre. That would be kind of fun too. Maybe Picard will be one of the people that's kind of carrying on the legacy of Ambassador Spock, and he uses his influence as an admiral and stuff like that to start that process and really wrap up that unification concept and start to actually lay the groundwork for Navarre in the future. That would be a lot of fun, and maybe he has to deal with some espionage of folks trying to prevent that from happening, a la Khitomer Accords. That would be a lot of fun too. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, that would be totally fun. I definitely like that. So looking at here, some of these other ideas, people want more Dadmiral. For sure, yeah. Discovery will turn into Andromeda. I don't think it's going to turn into Andromeda. People just keep saying that. It's not really. No, it's not going to just turn into Andromeda. Also, I like how people just say that as like that's a negative, as if suddenly Andromeda sucks. Andromeda doesn't suck. You suck. So write that down. So I'm so over the mystery box thing. Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. I could see people being over the mystery box thing. I don't hate the construct of the mystery box. I think if it's done well and actually has a satisfying answer, I'm fine with it, but too often is the mystery box answer not sufficiently, doesn't really live up to the expectation, unfortunately, I think. Okay. So one of my theories and ideas for season 4 of Discovery that I want to share with y'all, and this is an exclusive, I'll talk more about this obviously in my video as well, is we know that Doug Jones is back in Ontario filming Discovery season 4. We know that he's no longer the captain of the Discovery. So what is his role going to be? And what I would love to see, and what I would really I would just be enthralled with this idea, is that him being the ambassador for the Federation, maybe from Kaminar, he and Admiral Vance and potentially other members of the Federation restart the Federation Council as they start to bring in more member worlds. So we already saw at the end that Trill had rejoined the Federation, and I'm sure that Earth is probably going to want to do that, Navarre is probably going to want to do that, and other planets are going to want to start to rejoin the Federation. So they're going to have to rebuild potentially the Federation Council, and maybe we'll actually get a reveal of who the Federation President is. And Doug Jones's character of Saru will be our viewport into the inner workings of the Federation's political body, and talking about how they're reforming the Federation while the Discovery's off, maybe supporting it in space and doing different missions for things in space. Doug Jones is back at Starfleet headquarters, working with the Dadmiral, working with the Federation President and other council members to help rebuild it. Maybe there's a little bit of espionage, another Kid Accords type situation potentially. That would be awesome. We don't really get to see too much of the Federation Council. We saw a little bit of it spread out throughout the different, series of shows. We've seen it in a little bit of the different movies. We've seen these other ideas kind of being played up a little bit throughout Star Trek, but we never really get to see the full-blown governing body at work. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to really start to see how that thing functions, because they're rebuilding it at that point. And maybe they're trying to work to try to, get more member worlds in there, and they're trying to solicit more people and trying to figure out how to rebuild this thing and rebuild the council and assert some kind of authority and kind of reestablish the Federation as this, fighting force for good inside of the quadrants. I think that would be just a lot of fun. I really do. I think that would be really fun to see that. I think that Kovic, also known as Cronenberg, is the Federation president. I just don't think that they gave us that answer for a good reason, obviously, inside of Discovery Season 3, and I'd like to see them work together to kind of do that. So what do you guys think about that? That would be kind of fun. Not necessarily full-blown, crazy political drama, but just expanding on the Star Trek idea of what that really means, and kind of just digging into other avenues of Trek that we haven't really seen too much of. I'm curious to hear, what do y'all think about that? Give me your thoughts there. Veritas with a $4.99 donation. I appreciate the $4.99 donation. Thank you so much. Says, do you think the Federation / Starfleet HQ will return to Earth? I truly do. I really do. I think it's probably going to happen off camera. I don't think we're going to see it. I think when we go from 3 to 4, it's going to be something that has already occurred. And I feel like potentially, if my idea and my desire is correct, we're going to see the beginnings of the Federation Council coming back into play, and Saru's going to be playing a key role in that. That's what I think. Z-Film says, Saru, not Saturday. Let me see if I can scroll back to see your original comment. There's so many comments in here. I can't find it. I'm sorry. Scrolling down here. So, Season 3 was bad, abysmally bad. Nah, dude, it's not. Guess what? You're going to go ahead and get hidden from the channel. Good job, rock and roll, all the night, 1984. Bye-bye. We don't have any trolling in the chat channels. Thank you so much. That's really great of you. The show needs a new Enterprise. Well, we're going to get Strange New Worlds, but obviously I think you're maybe referring to the idea of having Enterprise in the future with Discovery. I think most people did notice the fact that the Enterprise was absent from Discovery Season 3. I agree. I think we do need a new Enterprise. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I'd love to see a future version of what the heck that would look like and what TAC number is that is, because we know what the J looks like. Obviously, that's canon. We know what the Enterprise J looks like, but what is the next version? How many more letters have we gone down? Have they restarted it? Is it NCC 17011-A? I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, that'll be pretty good. Z Films says Saru for Federation President. That is kind of an expansion on the idea that maybe he's the one leading a political campaign to try to be elected Federation President. They definitely leaned in on his approach to being an ambassador when he was talking to the president of Navarre. He had a lot of that. And honestly, like, his character throughout the entire series has always been somebody that is able to really create a common ground and be a bit of an ambassador and kind of have that kind of style of leadership where he's bringing people together. So I think that they could really expand upon that. Maybe he is going to be Federation president. I support it. I'd vote for him. I don't know if they have votes up there, but yeah, I'd vote for him for sure. The Enterprise Z, I do like that. Yes. Yeah, I like that for sure. The 1701-X, a prototype version of it. Ooh, okay. Pascal Arncon gives me a very fun GIF here. It says, keep it up. I will keep it up. It's a workout GIF. I like that quite a bit. Thank you. Thank you so much for the donation there. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. It says Shrew should be captain of the Enterprise, the 1701X. Maybe. I like the idea of him being an ambassador better. I think that opens up a lot more ideas for seeing other aspects of Star Trek that we haven't seen. A new USS Defiant, that would be fun. I'm fine with the USS Defiant. I really like the Voyager. I don't know how you all felt about that. We didn't really get to see it too much in the show, but they did release a lot of the concept art and still images of the Voyager online, which I did share out for folks and stuff like that. And I'll probably make a video about it at some point as well. But I did really like the way that the Voyager looked, for sure. It was really great. I did it. So have you read Bryan Singer's Star Trek Federation pitch? It was set in the future, the year 3000. It was going to deal with the Federation breaking down. I have read the pitch, and a lot of people did reference that the pitch was very similar to that of the ideas of what happened with Discovery Season 3, and I would argue that maybe they had some of those elements in there, but ultimately his pitch was wildly different about being a bloated Federation and a lazy Federation, not a Federation that lost all of its dilithium and then exploded. So I don't really see too much of a similarity there, but that's how I feel about that. Colton Harris with a $5 donation. Thank you. Y'all are doing crazy with the donations. Thank you all so much. This community that we have here at Ketwolski, it's been building for years now. And y'all are just so amazing. And I don't express my appreciation enough for all of you. But I really do appreciate it so very, very much. So Colton, thank you also for your $5 donation. It says, do you think Gray will come back as a hologram or a golem in season 4 of Discovery? Would be great to see what Robert Picardo's Doctor has been up to in the 32nd century. I don't think it'll be a golem. I do think we're going to get kind of one of those EMH kind of bands. Obviously, that's for holographic, characters, I guess you could say, persons. I don't know what the right word is there, but I think we're going to get something like that. They're going to develop a thing that it's going to make it so that people can see Gray, and Gray is going to be a member of the crew. I don't think that it's going to happen between seasons. I think it's going to be one of the main points of season 4 is their journey as a growing family, which is, Adira and Stamets and Culber and Gray growing as a family closer together and growing into this idea of creating something that allows them to see and allows everybody else to see Gray. I do think that's going to be there. Some people may say that's a bit of a cop-out, but I like the idea. I thought Gray was a great character. I thought actually all of the new characters that they brought in for Discovery Season 3 were really, really well done. I loved all of them. But I liked Gray. I liked the dynamics of Gray and Adira, and I like Gray and Adira and the Culber and Stamets dynamics. So I think that they're going to do that. I think it's going to be probably a plot point that they're going to develop some kind of device that allows Gray to be seen. And I look forward to that. I think that's going to be great. I don't know if Robert Picardo Doctor is going to be there. We know Robert Picardo has stated that he's going to be in season 2 of Picard, but nothing about Discovery at this point officially stated. So just keep that in mind there. Valamist. Oh, okay, here we go. What do you think the Klingons are doing in the 32nd century? Seems strange that we did not see one, even in the background of season 3. So first off, thank you for your $5 donation. I appreciate it. So what do I think the Klingons have been up to? I don't know, being Klingons. No, I don't know. It was clearly a deliberate thing. They intentionally did not include Klingons. They did have a reference to the Klingons, I think, on the map table during one of the sequences where the Admiral's talking to all the other captains inside of that room. But I think that's the sequence where it was at. One of the sequences with the map. So there was a Klingon territory, clearly defined outwards. But at any point in time, were they necessarily member worlds of the Federation? I think it's possible. Maybe they were one of the ones that also dipped out as well. The Klingons, of course, are already super kind of stressed about supplies. Obviously, they had the they had the Praxis situation where that blew up and the Federation had to step in with the Undiscovered Country movie. And then they continue to really struggle with supplies in general and the idea of really being self-sufficient throughout, all of Star Trek canon. So it is possible that they suffered a lot after the loss of the Federation and the loss of dilithium. They may be dwindled in numbers, but they definitely didn't. It was intentional on their part not to include the Klingons. I would like to see them. I'm wondering if they were just concerned as to what kind of Klingon designs they were going to use, and maybe they just couldn't come up with a final answer, so they're going to step away from that. Because if they use the Discovery design for the Klingons in the future, it's going to cause a lot of problems for people with all the other series that happened in between. And what does that mean for Worf? What does that mean for all of our other characters from the Next Generation? Because you can make arguments about, well, these are different groups of Klingons or this or that. And they've changed the Klingons a bunch of different times. And yeah, there's a really great argument. And I've done a video already on that. So you guys can go check it out if you haven't already. But it does create that question again as to like, what does this mean for the Klingons that we've seen in the other shows? They also didn't have Klingons in Picard. And again, I feel like there was a reason for that, and it's because they haven't probably settled on a new design. So that's my thought as to why we haven't seen that yet. Chuck A says, you have a great channel. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Wow, you guys are asking me so many questions. I'm trying to keep up with them. Black Delegation, the Black Delegation selects Eminem, says, I remember my first Ketwolski video. It was called The Death of Warp Drive. You know, The Death of Warp Drive, I bet you probably saw the re-upload because I had to change it because they initially pulled it down because of some music after like months of it being online. So it's really weird. So it says here, who is your prediction for Discovery's captain in season 5? Since there's a different captain in every season, my guess is Tilly. I don't think we're going to see a different captain. I think that they've arrived at their final decision, which is to have Burnham as the captain. I think she's going to be the captain for however long Discovery stays on, whether it's got more seasons or it has more movies or whatever it is. I think that they're going to stick with that. I don't think they're going to change that. Turn Gray into a floating ball of light. That would be really weird. That would be very strange. I hope not. Kind of going down here. People keep saying Discovery takes place in an alternate Star Trek universe, not the original Star Trek universe. Guys, they don't... Ryan Hale says they did have Klingons in Picard. Worf. They did have Klingons in Picard? They mentioned Worf. They didn't show Worf. Worf wasn't in there. We didn't see Michael Dorn in his makeup and however that's going to look. Now, there is a big theory that he's going to be in the second season, but we didn't see him on there. So to, again, respond back to the alternate Star Trek universe construct there, I was thinking that they may be trying to allude to that a little bit with the Guardian of Forever construct, and I really do feel like they are building up to this idea that there's different multiple parallel universes. We had a lot of those discussions with Cronenberg, with Georgiou throughout the series. He references it many, many times. They obviously got our first Star Trek television show reference to the Kelvin universe, even though they didn't mention it by name. We know that's what they were referring to. And there was a little line by the Guardian at the end there after Georgiou kind of woke back up on the ice, where he's like, there is a timeline right now where a Georgiou is laying dying on the floor based off of that person's decisions. So the idea that there's multiple timelines is being brought up again. They may start to lean into that more. I don't know if they will. Obviously, we have the episode's parallels, which... gosh, it's best not to really think about parallels because it really just opens a lot of things up. Some people even have this theory that every single episode of Star Trek is a parallel universe, which is insane to think about, but I don't know. I don't know how y'all think about that, but yeah, I do think that there is merit to the idea that maybe they're going towards that now, but as of right now in this moment, Discovery takes place in the original universe, and that's final. That's from the studio, and they're the only ones that get to decide that, regardless of how we fans may or may not feel about that. They're saying they had a flashback of Worf, Captain Worf. We saw a picture of Worf, I think. Was there? I don't think there was a picture of Worf. Am I wrong? I don't think there was anything. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not remembering. It's been a minute since I've seen Picard. I don't remember there being any physical show of Worf inside of the Picard series. So if anybody does have that, I'm going to need the episode name and a timestamp so I can go check it out, because otherwise I don't believe you. That's it. Tom Casey with the $2 donation says, your guess as to how many seasons of Star Trek Discovery? Listen, I think we're probably going to go with 5. I think 5 is a solid number. I think it's a strong number to end off on. I don't think they need to extend it on past, they don't need to go to 10 series. I'm looking at you, Stargate SG-1. They don't need to continue stretching it on for forever and ever. I think 5 is a solid number of seasons. If we don't get 5, I would like to see one of these streaming movies created for the Paramount Plus platform. That's how I feel about that. Triangulum Studios, what's up, buddy? It says, hey, Ketwolski, I have a question. What's your favorite color? Just kidding. Thought I'd stop by and say hello. Well, to let you know, my favorite color is blue. In case you didn't know by all the blue coloring in the background, the blue microphone, my blue drink koozie, I don't know. Maybe you could have guessed that by now. I don't know. So it was in the news interview in the first episode. I remember that they mentioned of war. Yeah, so if you guys can get me an episode and timestamp, let's go look at it together. We can do it live. I won't pull it up on the live stream, but we'll look at it together. WandaVision for All Mankind. I assume those are your suggestions for things. Yeah, I do think I'm going to start talking about WandaVision because I binged both episodes yesterday immediately as soon as they popped up on my feed, and I really enjoyed them. Again, I don't know necessarily if it's good or bad yet because there's so much going on. We have to dig into what SWORD is and really what that means for S.H.I.E.L.D. and what Nick Fury was doing at the end of the Spider-Man 2 movie and all that fun stuff. So Yeah, so 7 seasons, like almost always. 7 seasons isn't bad. I like 7 seasons. Five. That's why I say like 5 is solid. I don't feel bad if they ended at 5. I think Enterprise got canceled way too soon, and they should have given that more money, and they should have given it more faith, because more faith of the heart. I feel like now in retrospect, most Star Trek fans really like Enterprise. I love Enterprise myself now that I've actually get to see it through the binge function. And they ended it too soon, in my opinion. There was a lot more there, and being able to go through the first Romulan War would have been freaking awesome, and we barely got any of that. And we definitely got robbed. We robbed ourselves, really, because we just stopped watching it, and also there was terrible syndication stuff and the way that they were doing the scheduling and stuff like that. It made it very difficult. Very, very difficult. So it says, seems like you can't donate from outside the U.S. I don't think that's true, because I'm seeing some other foreign currency come through. So I think you should be able to still donate, even if you're outside of that. So Worf was in the episode where Picard was being interviewed for the news channel. They show flashback snippets. Okay, I'll have to go back and check that, because I don't remember seeing Worf's face. Like, that's really weird. I'll have to go back there and check that out. I can bring it up here while we're talking. I'll just mute the site so we don't have any copyright infringement here. We're gonna go to it right now. In fact, let me just look. I'll Google it first. Worf Picard season 1. We're gonna look it up right now and see if he's actually in there, because I don't think he was. I really don't think he was in there. I don't recall seeing him at all. Nobody has a screenshot of him being in there. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I'll have to dig into this more later and let you guys know, because maybe I've missed something, which is crazy. It says, hi again, Ketwolski. Do you think Tilly will become first officer? I do think Tilly will be the first officer. So they haven't confirmed this yet. Obviously, I haven't seen any official confirmation yet. But if you freeze frame Tilly standing there at the end with her gray uniform on, she did get the lieutenant. She had the lieutenant badge on. Like, you could barely see the little pip hash right there, kind of like at the top. And obviously you can also see the horrific color grading that they did to change her from red to blue. I don't know why they made her go to blue instead of it being a red color stripe. You can still see the red color stripe in the official press release photos, but the blue is in the show. I'll be doing a video about that here in a little bit to kind of talk about why I think they may have done that. But yeah, so she did get promoted to lieutenant based off of the badge, but they haven't officially announced that yet. I do think that she will be the first officer. I feel like that makes the most sense. They kind of had her earn her chops with the, bridge crew kind of fighting to save the Discovery and getting it knocked out of warp at the end there. So I feel like her relationship with Burnham and her, show of force and skill set towards the end of the season as being the first officer, I feel like is just going to make her kind of the XO. It makes sense for them to kind of work together in that regards. And honestly, who else would it really be at this point? They've removed Saru, and there's no other bridge crew member out there that could really step into that role without kind of doing significant kind of edits to the characters and kind of where their placement is at. And it makes the most sense because they put Adira in the show, and she filled the hole that Tilly was in, which is this super smart person that works with Stamets on the Spore Drive. And so they had to figure out what they were going to do with her. Sticking her on the bridge more permanently and making her the XO makes the most sense. I think that's what's going to happen there. It says, I just sent you the screenshot of Worf on Picard on Twitter. Let's go. We're going to Twitter. Here we go. I'm looking right now. Oh, okay. I'm going to bring this up really quick so you guys can see what I'm looking at. I'm going to bring it up over there. We're going to swap back over to the thing. So we're talking about Picard. All right, so I'm going to go to the reading thing. So in here at the Federation News Network, they did have this because he was the arbiter of succession. He had the cool little sash on. They were talking about Picard's accomplishments, so they did include this shot of Worf. Okay, so I definitely forgot about this. I totally forgot about this, that he actually had this screenshot in there. So, okay, so, I mean, that is it. So they are confirming that these Klingons did look like this at some point in time. Now, like I said, I did do a video on the Klingon construct in that, yes, a couple of things. Yes, they have changed the look before, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. They did attempt to do a canon explanation for it inside of Enterprise, which some people felt was good and some people felt was stupid. And they have referenced the fact that sometimes Klingons just look a little bit different. Then, of course, you have the idea that certain Klingon races will look different than other Klingon races. So there's a lot of different layers to the idea of why the Klingons look necessarily different. Like I talked about in my video where I talked about the Klingons, ultimately, they wanted to make the Klingons, in my opinion, look truly alien and give them a lot of new architecture as opposed to just black leather and silver armor with really dark, hard kind of lines and stuff like that. They wanted to give them this really beautiful, kind of armor and ships and this new look and kind of really expand upon the culture in different ways, which, you can feel one way or the other about. But why this? Now we have this Worf screenshot here. Leads me to believe that Worf will still look rather similar to the way he does if he does appear inside of Season 2 of Picard. And you can, of course, argue away that sometimes they just look a little bit different, and different groups look a little bit different. Not all humans look the same. Sometimes they look a little bit different. But yeah, so that is it there. So that's it, And I guess you could also say that the Klingons looked like traditional Klingons inside of Lower Decks. So I guess there's also that as well. So, okay. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and shift gears here a little bit as we kind of get closer to the top of the hour here, kind of going on with the live stream. I want to talk a little bit about another video series that I'm going to be doing for Star Trek in relations to Star Trek. Obviously, I have a lot of my wrap-up videos for Discovery that I'm going to be producing here shortly. Those will be kind of the next couple of weeks. But then what am I going to be talking about next for Star Trek? And one of those things is I did a bunch of research, and I'm still doing research, and I'm starting to work on some things in regards to this. So I'm going to show you guys this image really quickly, which is this timeline graphic that I created for Star Trek gaming. So I'm going to be talking about Star Trek gaming in general. I'm going to be talking about the history of Star Trek gaming. I'm going to be talking about how it started, where it was at with its peak, and kind of now where we're at. And this timeline graphic is going to be one of the key elements of that discussion. And I wanted to share it with you guys so that you guys could see a little bit of a teaser for those of you who decided to tune in for it live. This video will be coming out probably in about 3 weeks or so. It's going to be kind of a longer one. It's going to be about 30 minutes because I'm going to be doing a lot of discussions as to the state of Star Trek gaming and why I'm a little frustrated with where we are right now with Star Trek gaming and how we really need to kind of ramp it up as a franchise and get back into the gaming fight. One of the key points on this graphic to talk about is, of course, the fact that right now we only have, in the last decade, we only had 12 Star Trek games released, and 7 of those were mobile or browser games, which everybody hates mobile and browser games for the most part. So that's something I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, some of you may have seen the other idea that I did about a idea of a Mass Effect style Star Trek game, which is why Mass Effect is referenced on this graphic, because I feel like it's probably one of the closer franchises that connects back to the idea of what you could do with a Star Trek game. So yeah, that's it. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking a lot about that. I'm very, very excited to kind of dig into this. It's a topic that I feel very, very passionate about. And yeah, I just want to talk about it. So it's going to be pretty good. I'm really, really looking forward to it a lot. So, all right, we're going to switch back over to the main screen here so you guys can see me. Big screen. And we're coming up towards the top of the hour. Star Trek VR is great. Star Trek VR is great. And that's one of the few games that they have released in the last 10 years. But we need more. We need much, much more. So we need Armada 3 or we need something else. I don't know. We need much, much more. So okay, so get your final questions up here. I know we covered a lot of stuff here today. So just as a recap, thank you all again for being huge supporters of the channel. I absolutely appreciate it. It's awesome. You guys are fantastic. I love you all so very much, and we're going to continue to grow as a brand of Ketwolski, and I really want you all to be on this journey with me, and I think a lot of you are going to be. So I appreciate the support and the love and the interest in other things that I could talk about on the channel. So thank you all so much for that. Be on the lookout again also for the Earl Grey Pour-Up moving over to the Trek Central YouTube channel. I will, of course, be linking those things on my socials and stuff like that so you guys will know where it's at and you find it, relatively easy and stuff like that. So thank you all for that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to branching out and covering a bunch of topics. I'll probably will release a list of things I'm going to be starting to cover in the next 6 months and start to kind of dig into a little bit so y'all are kind of aware of what the content's going to be coming up. And of course, I'm going to continue to solicit more feedback there. So we have that stuff going on. We talked a lot about Star Trek Discovery. We talked a lot about, 3 and 4 seasons of it. We talked a lot about Picard, apparently, and the Worf situation. And then, of course, I gave you guys a little clip there for the upcoming video and mockumentary that I'm going to be doing, which is for Star Trek Gaming, which I'm super excited about. So get your last set of questions up here. I'm, of course, going to read through as many as I can. Do you think you're going to see a Federation Tholian war in Strange New Worlds? I would freaking love that, and I would love to see what Kurtzman and his creative team would come up with as a redesign for Tholians and a redesign really for the Gorn. I think that would be freaking awesome. I really want to see some of that. Scrolling through here, I would like a new Armada. Yeah, I would totally like a new Star Trek Armada. Obviously, Star Trek New Horizons is amazing, and that modern community has done an amazing job with there, but it's not quite the same, and I would love a new Armada for sure. Definitely. So, Geek Filter says $5 donation. Thank you so much for that. Says looking forward to your new direction. Thank you, Geek Filter. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Matthew Chitwood with a $4.99 donation says keep it up with a fun little kind of workout gif again. Thank you so much. We absolutely are going to keep it up here, so we're definitely going to be doing that. Earl Grey Trekkie says, do you think you would do Doctor Who reviews? Like I said earlier, I don't know if I'm going to be able to have the time to really sink my teeth appropriately into Doctor Who because there's a lot to watch there, but it's definitely on my mind and I will heavily consider it. Absolutely, if I can kind of carve out some time there. Which do you think we'll get first, Lower Decks Season 2 or Prodigy? I think we're going to get Lower Decks Season 2 first, but that's just my assumption. Just because I feel like Lower Decks, having already had to produce the second season at home the first season at home, and now they're producing the second season at home, I feel like their machine is much more well-oiled, so they'll be able to produce the episodes faster as opposed to Prodigy, which probably had to shift direction and shift their people around and kind of get themselves stood up from a remote perspective. So that's how I feel about that. That's why I think that. But I'm excited for both, to be perfectly honest. A new Elite Force game would be great. Yes, definitely. Did you hear about the Galaxy Quest sequel? I did hear about that, but I haven't heard much else beyond that. Daniel says, how to deal with post-Trek depression. Well, Daniel, if you are depressed, I hope that you definitely take care of that and get some serious actual literal help. To answer a question if it's meant as a bit of a joke, I would say rewatch all of Star Trek. We have 800 plus episodes now, so get on it. You've got a lot of time to get through all of them, so start at the beginning and work through it. Ketwolski, will you get Mike McMahon again on here? So far, there is something new about Lower Decks. I love that interview. I will be getting Mike McMahon hopefully on the channel again, but not till we get closer to the premiere of Season 2 of Lower Decks, so we can talk a little bit more about that. More collaborations coming up. Yes, there's going to be more collaborations coming up, and they're going to be really great, so I can't wait to talk to you guys about those. Stick out for the Trello, where I put a lot of that stuff on there if you want to get some sneak peeks as to where I'm going to be going next. So, okay. I'd love to hear your retrospectives on past Star Trek, man. Where would you like to do like a commentary? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I might do a commentary. Maybe I'll start doing like a commentary podcast or something like that, and I'll do commentary on some of the video, like some of the movies, and we can kind of do that together. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe do a Netflix watch party on some of the episodes. That would be kind of fun. Maybe, I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. Maybe we could kind of sit around and do a Netflix watch party together. Looks like Wilbur's getting ready to be done with the live stream here. So, okay. That's pretty much going to wrap up the stream for today. I want to again thank all of you for joining me here. Thank you for being super supportive. Thank you all so very much for all of those donations. It's amazing. It's really amazing. And the community that we've built here is phenomenal, and we're going to continue to grow it, and we're going to continue to stay close together as a Trek community, as we continue to grow into more of a sci-fi community. And we're all going to go arm in arm, hand in hand into the future here in the Ketwolski YouTube channel. And I really appreciate all of y'all being here today and kind of just continuing to support the channel through all of these years. And I really look forward to sharing this new content with all of you guys and gals and pals and really kind of going for it there. So go Bills. I know it's a little football reference. I'm looking forward to getting these new content videos out there, and I'm looking forward to kind of hearing your feedback on all those. So thank you all again. Thank you all so very much for being here today, and I will see you all next time. Live long and prosper.